Thank you. I appreciate you though. All right. So, um, wait, where's my quick time go? Oh, right here. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is for this particular question, they ask total distance. Now, do they usually ask without calculator? Probably not, but we are pretending that they ask this way. So because it is a lot of things that we talked about before. So ST is equal to 4t minus 3t squared. And they say, hey, can you find total distance? And I say, okay, well, how do I find total distance? It's going to be S prime of t is equal to 4 minus 6t. And S prime of t is equal to v of t. So we know total distance is integration of absolute value v of t dt. Does that make sense? Between a to b, right? We said displacements without absolute value. So let's just say between a to b. So it'll be integration of 4 minus 6t dt between 0 to 2. Is that okay? Now I don't like t, I'm gonna use x. Hopefully that's better. 6x dx. Now, for this one, I need to ask, like, absolute value, usually I find out where do they have x-intercept. So at this case, it's going to be 4 minus 6x is equal to 0. 4 equal to 6x, x equal to 2 over 3. So that means 4 minus 6x graph is something that looks like this. And I don't really know like what does it look like or how far they go down, how far they go down, up. So basically, I'm just gonna estimate. I'm gonna go from here. I'm gonna go straight down. So we're gonna say 2/3 is right here. So 2/3 is right here. So this is 2/3. Now this line's supposed to be continuous going, right? This line's supposed to be continuous going because 4 minus 6x is continuous going, but it's gonna spike up, brother. Like spike up a lot more. So it's gonna be like here. And basically you just figure out what the area of this. So what the area here, area here. We know this is 4, this is 2/3, and that's one triangle. And from 2, this is going to be 4/3, and this is going to be 8. How do I know it's 8? I can plug in 2 in here. I'm going to get absolute value negative 8. So it'd be 2/3 times 4 times 1/2 plus 4/3 times 8 times 1/2. Because the height of this side of the triangle is 4, because y-intercept is 4. Because you can plug in 0 here. If you plug in 0, it's going to be 4 minus 0. So yeah, so this is 8 over 6 plus 32 over 6. And that's equal to 40 over 6. That's equal to 20 over 3. And that's the way I got to answer here. And I thought this question is very, very good. It's very tricky. But yeah, it's going to be this way. Here's the answer for the other one. F is really hard. F is 22 over 3. I don't know if anybody got 22 over 3. Yes. Huh? Miranda, you gotta say it louder. I cannot hear you. I cannot hear you, Miranda.
Oh, we got 22 over 3.
Okay, nice, nice. So right now I'm worried about a couple students. One is Damien. You really need to do homework. The other one's Lee. I don't see him for another week. He's absent a lot. Uh,
Is this like the third FRQ on the test on Friday?
no, I show you what a third FRQ look like. It's today. I post 2 questions, right? So the first question is gonna be what the FRQ is gonna look like, because my FRQ is gonna be more parts, because you can use calculator, so you have to know what to do. Like how do you do, all this is very easy, but if you understand this question, you should be able to understand the whole part. Now, second question is a 2012 FRQ. This is the only time the FRQ that is on the non-calculated sections. So I want you to practice on that one, but I won't test that one. But I will test the first one, but you gotta learn how to use calculator.
First one calculator, second one no calculator.
Yes. So the way that AP exam runs this, there's 6 FRQ. Not like last year. Last year there's only 4, and you got 2 and 2. This one here, you got 6 FRQ for AB exam, but first 2 questions with calculator. So anytime you see FRQ, the question number is 1, usually is with calculator, or 2 is with calculator. 3, 4, 5, 6 is no calculator. So if you see, like, if I post a question like actual exam question, if it says 1, that means you can use the calculator. If 2 is within calculator. So you are gonna get 1 like this. Now, why did I send the one I write down? That one I write down is all the possibility they can ask. So I'm gonna including asking you all kind of possibility. You know what to do exactly on each probability, its possibility. Now for the second questions is the one with the no calculator. Even though they haven't tested for last 13 years, that doesn't mean that they won't test it this year. So I'm gonna prepare you for that. 2012, it happened 14 years ago. That's the only time ever kinematic was on the non-calculated section. But still, I wanna say, hey, you guys know how to do it, so I'm gonna assign today as a homework. Is that okay? And so the things that you want to focus on is the one with the calculator, which is a whole page, have all the way to part I. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I. So have all the way to I. You have to know how to do each one using calculator. Very, very important. So Damien, you got to do that homework, because that is 1/3 of your test, more than 1/3 of your test, because that question has multiple parts. And if you understand FTC, you will get 60. If you understand today what we're gonna go over, the rate law of the rate one, then you will get pretty much 90 or 100%. But this is the 3 most common questions on FRQ. You have to know them all. So you don't want to know them by April. If you want to know them by April, you're too late. So Damien, you gotta start working. I'm gonna run that 3 mile for you next year. When you got that 3 or 4, maybe 5, then I had to run 5 miles. 20 years later, I'll be fit. I'll be like, I get more like fit as the time goes on. People passing AP exam when I make a bet. When you come back 10 years, I'll be like, yeah, 20 mile, nothing.
Marathon.
Is this okay? Okay, so this is the question, and this is the last part. Now, this is all no calculator. I want you to experience no calculator situations, because I think the most of the time that you gotta learn how to do things without calculator, then with calculator, it's just press a button. So it's fairly easy. So you have 2 questions on your calculator. Your test is gonna be exactly like that one. It's a different function. Gonna ask you multiple different things. We'll go over it. But today we're gonna go to something called rate in and rate out. Net rate equation. A net rate equation is they have showed the net rate equation for the past 10 years. The only time it didn't show up is last year. So there's two possibilities for this year. The possibility it will show up because it didn't show up last year. Second possibility is they kind of walk away from that question, which is I don't think so. I think that's the best way to use in calculus section and have students really understand it. So I think this year is gonna be showing up. So you should prepare. Last year I told students it's 100% on it, and it wasn't on it. But I guess the other 5 questions correct. I just that one question I got it wrong. So we're like as we get pretty good at learning like to knowing which question to being asked if you teach AP for a long time. Okay, so that's one of the questions. So I'm going to show you the next question. I want you to read this question and I want you to think about it because you can figure out what happened. So 2019 FRQ, AB. Now I want to be like, this is the question I want to show you as an example. Now there's multiple practice question of this one. In terms of this, that you have to understand on this Friday's test questions, all 3 are somewhat correlated to each other. Don't try to learn knowledge just like, okay, this is one idea, I only do this one problem. I think this is where that a lot of people are bad at math. It's people who are good at math is they understand that one concept is correlated to the other concept is correlated to the other concept. And I will teach you how to correlate this to kinematic. I will teach you how to correlate this to kinematic. But let's read this question and let's see if you know how to answer part A. Just read this question and tell me like what's going on. So those of you that's good reader, I want you to read through it and see what's going on. What, and don't shout it. Like, what do you think? Like, write down. What would you do with a calculator for part A? Right? Even though I did not teach you, but do you know what to do? How many guys know what to do with part A? One person? That's not good. Maybe 2? Maybe 3? Okay, that's getting better. No, not. You know it? Okay, good. How about Max and Emily? Fabian? So, okay. Winston? Maybe, okay. Okay, let me ask one person. Let me ask who? Let me ask Miranda, what do you think?
both functions in the graph. And then I put x equals to 5. So then I would get like from 1 line it says 27.5 fish entered. And then from the other line it said 9.6.
It's not correct. Okay, let's ask Fabian.
Did you just subtract those numbers?
Subtract which two numbers?
You would subtract the amount of fish that entered by, oh no, the one that left from the one that entered.
Samuel? Lian?
Do 20 plus 15 fine. Like
15 over.
E5 minus, or E5 plus E of 0.
No. Okay. Oliver, what do you think?
Yeah.
All right. So a lot of you guys don't understand what's going on, but I'm going to show you, and you will see a lot of correlation. So here's what you need to write down on your notes. Very important. And it's not on other people's YouTube video. So so Kaden have to better watch my video. Okay. So do you realize the question says rate? Like fish entering a lake rate modeled by the function of this function, right? Rate, right? Rate. In terms of rate, it's like kind of like velocity, right? Does that make sense? What's a unit of velocity? Now give me one example of unit for velocity. Meter per second, good. Meter per second or mile per hour, that's the same thing, right? What happened to this situation? What is the unit for this? Fish per hour. There you go. Fish per hour. Okay, fish per hour. Then you're like, oh, okay, that's not too bad. But what do they want? They want how many fishes. So how many fish enter in the lake? So they don't want a rate, because if they want you to plug in the rate, that would be fish per hour. The unit's wrong. Does that make sense? So what you have to do is, hey, let's take this and let's integrate it. What happened to integrate? If I integrate fish per hour, what am I going to get? Fish. Is that okay? If I look at internal velocity, it will be meter, right? Because there is no second, not meter per second, not power per hour, it will be mile or meter. Is that okay? Give me a second. Let me say this is a position. Yeah, they are equivalent.
Okay.
Now I want you to look at this. Hey, I can derivative, right? What would it be if I derivative of fish per hour? Fish per hour, good. Or per hour square, right? Because this one's meter per second square. And this is acceleration. But they usually, when they rate, they give you something like a rate. They say rate. Now, one more thing you need to know for this question is this. There's a net rate. Net rate is equal to in rate minus the out rate. That means this is a net rate. Usually you want to look at a net rate equation, because net rate equation is including in and out. However, the first question, guess what? They say how many fish entering the lake by our period, but we have a fish per hour over there. If I integrate it between 0 to 5, would I get amount of fishes? Does that make sense? Fairly easy, right? Not difficult, because you got to understand the correlations. between one concept to the next concept, the idea is always the same. That's why people can learn something really fast because you just had to apply the idea from the other one idea to the other idea. And then when I talk about this kind of question, then what do they tell me? That's the velocity of fish comes in. If I integrate velocity, I'm gonna get the amount of fish. So therefore, A is gonna be doing. So can you do this on the calculator? Try it right now. Try to type in on decimals. Make sure you guys know how to do it. But you don't want to do in minus out right now because they only ask you how many fish is coming in.
Yeah. It's gonna be 153.
Now, when you get like, so you gotta understand the answer usually, like if you get an answer that's not realistic, they try to make that the answer as realistic as it can. So let's say second period, somebody told me 8 fish. It kind of doesn't make sense. You have a lake for 5 hours, only 8 fish entering the lake. That's just not intuitively correct because they, math people, they try to give you a very similar situation that you get a fish, that you get 153 fish. Oh, that kind of makes sense. Probably not a big lake, probably like a very tiny lake. Yeah, but 153 fish.
Yeah.
It's 153.
Why is it that is something I got one.
And then for B, you just do the same thing.
Yeah, but B is asking what?
Average numbers, so that's the one.
So average. Yes, that same thing is like asking average velocity, right?
Yeah. Holy troll.
You figure out?
Yeah, I had to put alphabet instead of E.
Yeah, we did. Somebody did that too. Because the reason being is E, they think about 2.714 in term of inside the thing. So I think well, Alex DeLong is the one that found out is because E of X is 2.714x. Yeah, so it's really important. So for me, I like to type in the equations rather than E of X. Because what if I says, let's say, yeah, I think E is the only one that's weird. Everything else should be fine. If I say H of T is fine, right? But entering, so they can, I guess, use E. I think that's what people get confused. You run out on fish. You should run out on fish, right?
Sure, you need to put up a new one, because every time you do this, a fish dies. It needs to be round.
All right, so now you should know how to do B now. But you had to write it out. What do you do? Like which formula you plug in? What did you do? You had to write it out. Now you could answer A, B, C, D, no problem, easily. 153.
That's 0.1.
Yeah, right now.
So leave like which is on the group. No, the first one is fish definition. The second function is fish definition. Yeah. So you have to do the integral.
So be careful when you're doing. You don't want to do this because you don't want to do e of x here, because I will actually type in an equation like that, just because I can use it. But if you do e of x, do you see that those are different things? Like if you do integration between 0 to 5, and if you just do e of x dx, it's actually wrong because they thought it was e times x. They thought 2.7. They thought 2.718. So they think it like this. They think the decimal is thinking like 0 to 5, 2.718 x dx. So they think that's that same thing. They think it's 2.714 x. They not think about the function e of x. So be careful. So usually I would type in the equation here rather than e of x, because e of x they thought was the other way. So that's how some people get 33 rather than that. So that's something you have to be careful. Most other functions should work. Let's just say f of t. If you integration f of t, that should work. But this case actually backfire because. So for me, I'll type in the equation to just be safe, rather than type in the function notation. Does that make sense or no? Can you guys find B now? What you guys get? Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah, it's wrong up. I don't think they care if you round up or round down, but whole number I'll round up. I got 6.049, 059. 6.059.
We sell it, man. For me?
Yeah, it's average. So average, you had to divide it by 5.
Oh,
It's like saying average velocity, remember? Same idea, average velocity 1 over b minus x.
Oh yeah.
No, I just dropped it. This is 6 equals
That plus.
to drop it. That's mine. Like,
Now, see, we're gonna get to it tomorrow, but you guys can try it and see if you get the same answer. Don't look at a scoring guideline. Try it on your own. See if you get to the last questions. But yeah, you can really easily get all 9 part if you know how to use calculator. And you have to know how the correlation with 2 different ideas. It's not hard if you just guys understand what it's asking and understand how it's related to the other.
Is this 2019?
Yeah, don't look at the answer yet. We'll look at it tomorrow. Try it first.
Is it that one? Well,
No, don't look at it tomorrow. If you know it's right, you know it's right.
I don't know.
I guess.
You do next.
So what do you think greatest number of fish in terms of mathematic term?
Absolute maximum.
Absolute maximum value.
Not one. But then we have to take in fact that fish are entering entry.
So that's the net.
Find the absolute value.
You had to check the endpoints.
We need to make the table.
Exactly.
With what are the oh 0 to 5? Oh 0 to 8. 0 to 8.
So you realize everything's the same. It's just a different way of asking questions.
And then we take the up then
This is why I think.
I hope you don't know.
I can see the gears.
You can see it.
Well, like, this happened to me in 5th grade.